Alright, I think I located the neck here. See how the hair lays. I just went by the lay of the hair, worked around until I found what looked like the neck. It's pretty thick. And this is a great big buck. I'm sure it's a buck. So this beam is going to be too big around to actually get started. So we're going to swap with that beam. But what I really wanted to show you was how my tripod is put up. Real simple. Piece of plywood cut with the, that's a 60-degree angle. This is cut on a 60-degree angle. Screw it all together. Real simple. Real simple. Got a big boulder back there to hold everything down. It's about a little over waist high. You notice on the neck I'm going backwards because we got to get started somewhere. What I really wanted you to see. That's the grain. Let's see if I can get around here where I can see what you see. That's the grain. Explain to you what you see here. Alright, what you're looking at, this is what we're going to make into buckskin. This is your fiber network. Above that, you've got the grain. See right there where it clearly separates. See right there where I've been plowing under it. I mean, literally plowing it. Alright, I wanted to show you this detail right here. You've got the hair, and you can see just up under it is the epidermis. Right there. It's real thin, real brown. It's just dead skin. It just flakes right off. Alright, right below that, you've got the grain, which is really much thicker. I got a lot more scraping to do here. But you can see where I've been scraping, you can see how thick that is. Right there where that comes off. That's the grain. Taking that off to make buckskin. Leave that on to make grain leathers. Leave it on and brush it to make things like suede. Right up under that's the fiber network. See the texture of that? That's what we're going to turn into buckskin. This side looks really ooey gooey now because it's covered in ashes. But most of that's going to scrape off, and it's already should have pretty much dissolved the membrane layer, whatever little bit was left on there. And you see it just as I scratch it like that, how it turns back white up under there. So that's what we're after. This side scrapes a lot easier if you go ahead and get all the hair off. Most of this work was done when I fleshed it before I put it in the bucket. The more you do sooner, the better off you are, the less you have to do later. Alright, I'm going to do a little more scraping. We'll come back in a minute. Alright, hopefully you got the gist of how that works. I just want to demonstrate how aggressive you can be with this before I cut away. This buckskin is really tough stuff. It's got to be pretty much rotten for you to tear through it. Unless you have a sharp tool. Tool should be dull. Dull so that it won't cut you. It took me all that time to do a 1.5 inch wide by 6 inch long strip. You multiply that by, man, big hide. I'm gonna have a lot of time tied up in this thing. But it's huge and it's just too big to waste. You can see the stripes there where my strokes overlap. Every pass overlaps. And don't be afraid to go over it several times. 3, 4, 5 times, it don't matter. Scrape it good. So once it's smoked, you don't get to go back and do any more scraping. Dig in. You can't really go wrong unless your knife is too sharp. You see, this is not sharp at all. More or less just a rounded edge. Right there. I wish this thing would focus better. You can see the papillary layer. There we go. You can see right there. Right there. It's the papillary region. That's where the two join. And it separates pretty easy there. Using this wet scrape method, bucking seems to break apart that bond, that seal between the two skin parts. It makes this a lot easier. If I'd done this as a green skin, I'd be here 30 minutes to get that much done. Buck your hides, it's worth it. Alright, you didn't really want to watch me do all that hard work. That's a fairly vigorous exercise. It probably took me 15 minutes to scrape out that little V on the neck. But this is the toughest part, the neck. Once that's over with, it's done. Now I've got myself a nice little starting spot. I have enough there that I can pinch over the end of the beam. So I'm going to turn this thing around. We'll wring all the ashes out of it as best I can back into the bucket, just in case I need to dip it again. But actually, you really don't want to once you've scraped it to this point, because the ashes will stain the skin at this point. If you're not sure when you start, bucket extra long. Let it keep going. If you're not sure, the neck is going to be hard. There's no way around it. You notice how the skin's got this big puckle in it right here. That's where it's getting dry. As it rehydrates, it'll get back loose and rubbery like this. Of course, it won't have much stretch because it's got all this alkali in it. So right this minute, it's more like stiff leather than stretchy chamois buckskin. But once we rinse it, all that goes away. Alright. I'm going to let you watch me scrape for a few more minutes. Then we're going to swap over to the big beam again. You know what? I'm going to get a better shot of this. Alright, I hope you can see this as it's going on. I'll try my best to stay out of the way. That's the grain coming off. That's the grain. It's the grain layer. Hope you can see what's going on there. Basically, the hide is swollen. The bond is broken between the two layers, and we're just plowing the top one off the bottom one. Basically, just driving a wedge between them. And right here is what makes the difference between stiff leather and soft leather.